I'm very bullish on the long-term viability of Bitcoin.
I was going to say, did that surprise you?
That surprised me how much that's
Really?
gone up. We're creating now a market that has more liquidity, more transparency. I'm pleasantly surprised, and I would never have predicted it before we filed it, that we were going to see this type of retail demand.
So you thought you'd do good, but not this good.
Yes. IBIT is the fastest growing ETF in the history of ETFs.
Did you hear how bullish Larry Fink was right there? This is massive, but it's also alarming. Blackrock and the rest of the Bitcoin ETFs are gobbling up Bitcoin like, well, it's the scarcest and most desirable property on the planet. This could lead to a supply shock in 6 months, the likes of which the world has never seen. Could 0.1 Bitcoin change your life? Yes, but with major institutions becoming major bulls and nation states on the verge of piling in, not to mention global economic uncertainty, Atlas shrugged and leaving the world behind playing out in real time, you want to seize the opportunity and get skin in the game because this next decade will be the Bitcoin gold rush and you don't want to get left behind.
Party, that party. Yeah, come and have a good time with G.O.D.
If you study history, you're going to find that the currency collapsed thousands of times. In fact, on average, it collapses everywhere. It collapses everywhere on average every 50 years. The difference between the winners and the losers is the winners buy something valuable and the losers are afraid.
The big dogs themselves, like Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, are becoming more Saylor-like by the week, singing the praises of Bitcoin like it's the next best thing since sliced bread. Well, Larry, welcome to the party, Pat.
BlackRock bought $6 billion of Bitcoin and all these new ETFs. They bought like 1% of the supply. Well, that means 99% of the supply and 99% of the beneficiaries so far are the non-ETF holders, right? So it's accelerating institutional adoption and it's just accelerating Bitcoin adoption and empowering everybody else in the ecosystem to do all the things that they want to do.
Now we're getting closer to the main event. We're talking about how owning just 0.1 Bitcoin could flip your financial game upside down. But why stop there? Let's sprinkle in a little dose of reality, shall we? The Federal Reserve is printing money like it's going out of style, and those regional banks, they're staring down the barrel of a commercial real estate crisis. Not choosing Bitcoin could leave you selling foot pics on OnlyFans.
This is where we're at in America. It's not getting any better. Except that mom's won't be able to feed her children, not even on OnlyFans.
Right, because she'll be making 100, 200 grand a year in OnlyFans, but her rent will be $6,000 a month or so. She won't be able to afford
Inflation.
it.
Max Keiser and many others have been calling for this a long time. We're in the midst of an economic meltdown, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to get left in the dust. You see, inflation isn't just creeping in through the cracks. It's smashing through the door like a bull in a china shop. Prices are skyrocketing and everyday folks are feeling the squeeze. You want a house? Good luck affording one. Don't even get me started on groceries. You'll need a second mortgage just to buy a loaf of bread. So why the hell is this happening, you ask? Well, let me tell you. It's all thanks to the geniuses running our monetary policy into the ground. They're printing money like it's going out of style, and guess what? We're the one paying the price. The economy's on a collision course with disaster, and if we don't change course, we're all going to go down with the ship. And what's our brilliant solution to this mess? More of the same nonsense, more printing, and more debt. The same stuff we've been fed for decades. Trickle-down economics, my culo. We were promised prosperity, but all we got was a mountain of debt and a whole lot of broken dreams. It's time to wake up, smell the coffee, people. The emperor has no clothes, and we're the ones left out in the cold. But wait, there's a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Some savvy politicians are starting to wise up and see Bitcoin for what it really is, a lifeline in a sea of financial chaos. They're starting to realize maybe, just maybe, there's a better way forward, one that doesn't involve printing money like it's, well, fiat paper.
Why do the earmarks bump from the state to the federal government? Because there's a printing press up here, and it's going full stop 24 hours a day, printing, and putting the next generation into debt.
Bitcoin doesn't need us. We need Bitcoin. It's a force of nature, a digital juggernaut, and it is barreling ahead with or without our approval. Regulators can try to rein it in, but they're fighting a losing battle. Bitcoin is here to stay, and it's about damn time we recognize that.
The world that Satoshi Nakamoto, author of the Bitcoin white paper, envisioned, and others are building, is an unstoppable force. We should not attempt to deter this innovation, and governments cannot stop this innovation. And those that have tried have already failed.
Are we going to keep burying our heads in the sand and pretending everything's fine? Or are we going to stand up and fight for a better future. You tell me, are we bullish enough yet? I mean, there are, of course, those individuals that make you puke in your mouth every time you see them. In a world where D-bags are flexing their materialistic bullshit on social media, owning 0.1 Bitcoin might not make you an overnight sensation, but it sure as hell puts you ahead of the pack. It's like having a secret defense, adamantium armor in your financial arsenal ready to unleash or send anywhere without permission whenever the time is right. You might not be a millionaire yet, but Rome wasn't built in a day.
This 10 years is your best chance to get Bitcoin, right? This is the gold rush because this is the period where there's still a lot of FUD. There's still a lot of uncertainty. People still aren't sure. They don't understand digital energy. They don't understand digital capital. They don't understand digital property. You have 10 years during which you can work and you can buy Bitcoin while everybody else disagrees with you and doesn't understand it because they're intellectually lazy or they're a different generation.
Now, before we break out the calculator, let's take a moment to recognize our sponsors, the Bitcoin Way. Bringing over 25 years of experience in cybersecurity, the Bitcoin Way is your IT team in the Bitcoin world. They'll help take you from that why Bitcoin to the how Bitcoin. From setting up your first wallet node all the way up to inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments for your business. They cover all aspects of Bitcoin security and privacy. They even work with their clients to configure routers, devices, and networks. Also, not to mention UTXO management and coin joining. In short, for everything in Bitcoin sovereignty and privacy related, they are your go-to source. Hey, looking to get started? You can book a free 30-minute call using that link. All right, here we go. Suppose Bitcoin hits a cool $1 million in the next decade. That 0.1 Bitcoin you're holding on to or accumulated, well, that's 100 grand right there. And if Bitcoin decides to shoot to hit 5 million or even 10 million, as foretold by the legend Hal Finney, well, you do the math. We're talking about turning 5, 6, 7 grand into a retirement fund. Just look at Bitcoin's chart, and when Bitcoin starts going up faster than my blood pressure at Thanksgiving dinner, you want to be on board the Bitcoin train. What's great about Bitcoin too, it's not just about the money. Oh no, it's about sticking it to the man, flipping the bird to the government, and saying, hey, I'll take financial freedom with a side of liberty. Thank you very much. So if you're ready to stick it to the status quo, Bitcoin's your ticket to ride.
It keeps everybody honest. All you got to do is find one bank in Singapore that'll treat you better than the bank in New York or London or Tokyo, and then you can move it in a half an hour for $5. And what happens next? The bank in New York thinks, well, I guess we can't screw these guys over because and they'll just move it to Singapore. And the guys in California say, well, I can't just tax all the Bitcoin in California. It'll move to Wyoming. And at the end of the day, you can tell everybody go themselves. You can put it in your head, memorize the freaking key, right? And it's here.
Owning 0.1 Bitcoin could be the game changer you've been waiting for. And 10 years from now, 4 years from now, you could be one of the few and the proud hodlers of 0.1 Bitcoin. From there, build. And remember, at 0.21, only 100 million other people are capable of achieving such a task? And then not to mention, there's like 3 million coins possibly missing or unlocked, well, forever. What's that mean? Number go up. All you have to do is stay the course, and for the love of God, don't fall victim to the shitcoin scam and trap.
Diversification is selling the winner to buy the loser. All those dudes in suits that practice diversification, they didn't get rich because they diversified. They got rich because they instilled fear, uncertainty, and anxiety in a bunch of other people who then gave them their money and agreed to pay 2% management fee and give them 20% of the upside. You're a retiree, you give them your money, you give them your life savings, they charge you 2% a year, and then they tell you that it's too dangerous for you to own Apple, it's too dangerous to own Bitcoin, it's too dangerous to own Google. You can't do that. That's irresponsible. So here's what happens next. You give them $1 million at 2 and 20. And if you actually understand statistics or financial modeling, and then you just take that $1 million and invest it in the S&P index, and the S&P were to go up 10% a year, they get 4% a year and you get the other 6%, which means that you just gave them 40% of your money. You had $1 million and you just gave them $400,000 and you got the other $600,000 back. And so if you ask yourself the question, who are the people telling you diversify? It's the people selling you the diversified funds, or they hold themselves out as these brilliant diversifiers. And what they're really doing is taking all your money.
So keep stacking those sats, keep fighting the good fight, and who knows, maybe we'll see you on the moon. And not to mention, what if Samson Mao was right? And if Bitcoin hits $1 million this year. Don't get caught with your pants down.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.